Welcome back to another episode of Week in Review. We've got loads to cover this week, including the 3.7 and 3.8 roadmaps, Carrack Release Date, flight model updates, and more. So with that said, let's get started. So at number 4, we have the roadmap update. This week sees sweeping changes with CIG releasing the roadmap for 3.7 and 3.8, taking us through the rest of the year. We already knew much of this would be in line with Squadron, but CIG have tried to be as conservative as possible with the roadmap, trying to avoid pushing back features this year. Some features have been left off, with CIG citing them as surprises, but we won't know what these are until they release. So with that said, let's take a look at 3.5. An overall 6% gain takes us to 52% completion, with only bounty mission NPC improvements being moved from this release into 3.6. Ship AI flight model was completed, and 27 tasks gained progress, with only the projectile manager losing 8%. Almost all tasks have now begun, with only vehicle radar v2 yet to begin. Overall a strong week, and let's hope CIG can continue this pace through to release. 3.6 holds much more change, being slimmed down vastly. Most of the existing items were removed, with glass visor and HUD improvements being the lone item in the characters category. Rust Stop variants fills the locations, 11 new items fill gameplay, none of which make up major gameplay elements, 4 new AI tasks, an extra ship, 2 extra weapons, and the removal of 3 core tech items in place of 5 new ones. This release has been majorly restructured, much to the disdain of the community. It now appears as a minor update release, setting up some interesting core mechanics, but not adding anything significant. 3.7 is a much more promising release, with the first iteration of new gameplay mechanics in quite some time. Bounty Hunter armor is sure to appeal to many, and the new range of Rest Stop variants will be a nice addition. AI continues to improve, and our gameplay section adds bounties, refueling via fuel scoop, repair refuel restock kiosks, ship to station docking, NPC healing, player status, and power v2, all of which serve to add useful mechanics into the verse. None of these are full gameplay loops, but it is a start. For ships, we add the Cutlass Red, presumably to make NPC healing a useful mechanic, the standard gamut of weapons, and general networking and performance improvements, alongside improved shield tech. This should be an interesting release, even if only for docking and healing seeing their first iterations. 3.8 feels a little bit more ambitious, building on some of the mechanics released in previous patches. While one of the smaller releases, it packs quite a lot into its roster. A new Microtech clothing collection complements the addition of Microtech, its moons, and the new Babbage landing zone. Refineries finally see a release, though only in space station form, hopefully implementing the previously released docking. AI continues to have flight mechanics added, with Ace Pilot being added to the list. Gameplay adds V4 of the vehicle HUD, dynamic missions, mag boots, a security system which controls access to private areas and objects, ship-to-ship docking, and the first iteration of salvage. We see some of the most anticipated ships, with the Cutlass Blue alongside the Anvil Carrack and the Hull C, which can finally use its docking tech. 3 weapons fill this category, and the only core tech we see are the standard performance improvements. Overall an exciting release, building on some of the tech which we've hopefully released across the year. The release is probably the most volatile, having lots of dependencies on previous builds, but CIG are trying to keep it realistic this year, and we'll see how that plays out. Overall a mixed bag for the coming year. Many citizens have mixed feelings on this release, but we must bear in mind that CIG are pushing to have Squadron released early next year, so much focus is being given to the development of mechanics which go into it. What do you think of this roadmap? Let me know in the comments below. At number 3, we have Around the Verse. This week's ATV gives us a fresh update on progress towards 3.5, including audio, flight models, and more. Ship AI has been reworked completely to work with the new flight model and IFCS systems. Aside from reworking the code to integrate with these new systems, Gunships have had their behaviour reworked to focus the maximum number of turrets on a player, circle the target, and generally make it feel more realistic. Ship audio also sees a rework with the new flight model, aiming to make it more flexible and improve immersion. Previously, ships limited the audio source to just thrusters, but in this new system they can be placed anywhere, improving the spatial audio. A range of new sounds and features have been added to make the ship sound better than ever before, and we should see this release in 3.5. This has a side effect of making the audio setup time far lower under the new system, and should allow for much faster iteration. The animation team is focusing on bringing the quality of the current animations up to AAA quality in 2019. Lots of animations, such as picking up boxes, currently cause popping in the animation, and CIG are hoping to squash bugs like this in 2019, in preparation for the best possible Squadron experience. CIG have been working with some of the community members to build in new sign language emotes in the verse, working to further include community members in the experience. And that's all for ATV this week. Not much to cover, but a great episode nonetheless. At number 2, we have Reverse the Verse. This week's RTV is a mix of a recorded update with Erin Roberts and some live Q&A with the lore team. We'll start off with Erin and his opinion on the roadmap. CIG have traditionally planned based on the resources they think they'll have, including recruiting staff, etc. This year they've done the plan based on the current staff count, with the possibility of reassessing patches as they come out. Erin re-emphasised that this year is being focused on Squadron features to ensure that it can come out on time next year. Star Citizen will continue to receive these features and updates, but dedicated PU features may be pushed back a little. That said, work is progressing in the background on full persistence, building out a stronger economy, and pushing server meshing technology forward. Just because features don't appear on the roadmap, it doesn't mean CIG aren't working on them. The roadmap is only for features that are expected to release this year. CIG focus on always building a solid foundation for their features, as they don't want to be rebuilding the tech every time they want to improve it. They haven't always done this in the past, but they're now committed to doing it properly. Squadron progress is going well, with fortnightly internal reviews at CIG to ensure things are keeping on track. Many citizens asked about the fact CIG previously said all levels were in Greybox, when that's not the case according to the roadmap. The team reviewed all of the levels, and they weren't happy with the state the game was in. As such, they decided to rework all of these levels, and are now targeting Greybox for all levels later this year. Erin's big ticket items for this year are new locations, added detail to the existing locations, the new flight model, improved AI, and more. Some features come to Squadron first, as it's easier to implement a feature in single player before reworking it into the multiplayer MMO that is Star Citizen. Erin emphasised that Evocati have proved invaluable for CIG, and they'll be giving them incredibly early access to the new flight model to get more feedback from them during the development cycle. Erin hopes that server meshing will be able to put all players in a single instance, allowing everyone to play together. Currently, going above 50 players per server causes slowdowns that are so bad the game becomes unplayable. The meshing should allow servers to hand off between each other, so if a bar, for example, has 100 players in it, they can dedicate a server for those 100 players, and when they leave, they're handed off to different servers. CIG are working on this tech this year, but it'll only be the first iteration and it won't be releasing by the end of the year. It won't be the final version, but it should allow for the current player count to be much higher than it currently is. And that's all from Erin. Looks like he's confident in the current roadmap, and we should see those features release in the coming 12 months. Moving on, we'll now have a chat with the lore team, answering questions from the backers. Lore-wise, Star Citizen does have natural disasters, but most of them focus around things such as jump point collapse. Tectonic plate shifts causing dust have destroyed planets in the past, insects have destroyed planet populations and more, but we'll see more of these happen in the future, and we do have them in the lore. Vanduul are a major threat in the game, but other humans also pose a big risk to other players in the verse. Smaller factions exist, and you may run across them in different areas of the verse, ranging from human militias to local gangs with other races. Squadron will impact the PU, though it's not currently known by how much. There may be museums, statues, relics, features, etc., which all feature in the PU. There may be alternate economies with different alien races having their own currencies. CIG are currently focused on the human economy, but discussions are being had about whether players will be able to use other alien currencies. The Galactopedia is being worked on, and a few features keep popping up on the Jump Point magazine, but there's currently no timeline for the full online tool to release. ArcCorp was completely covered in less than 30 years, but that's a representation of the company and their aggressive push to fill the planet. Both Xi'an and Vandal languages are being worked on, and there may be future ones, but CIG are keeping very quiet at the moment. And that's all for RTV this week. Overall a great week with lots of information, and hopefully CIG can stick to the roadmap. And finally at number 1 we have the community overview. The community remained divided on the roadmap this week, with many appreciating the range of new features and hyped for the Carrack, and others thinking that the roadmap is somewhat weak and lacking features. That said, most are coming to accept it, and reception is improving as time goes by. That's all from me for this week. Don't forget to enter the giveaway linked in the video description, like if you liked it, get subscribed, and leave me a comment letting me know what you thought. I'll see you in next week's episode of Week in Review.